You'll never believe what happened. And this statement is tough for me today because when I study Proverbs and having the relationship that I do with the Lord now, that statement is not something that I'm shocked by. You'll never believe this. You'll never believe what happened. And then they'll tell me a story and they'll talk about a person that they met. And when they met this person, then, oh my gosh, they knew a certain person. And then I've been dreaming of this and this happened. And to me, that's not shocking because God has a plan He's designed. And this is the challenge. This is a good challenge to have. But that's the challenge when you're in communication with God and you're having that relationship. See, I sat down with my brother yesterday, Brad, and he told me that, for years had this desire. He's an NBA fan and, huge NBA fan, but he's honestly one of the best producers in the world. Like he just set up my shots, which you're going to see today you're going to see that they're a little bit different. Lighting's a little bit different, camera angles, all those things. And he had told me about a desire that he had for years. And with this desire, we were talking, and as we were talking it through, he was like, yeah, my mom knew somebody, and then that person knew somebody, and they called me, and it's crazy, you'll never believe, but, that person is in direct contact with what I want to do. And in my heart, as I'm listening, I'm so excited for him. I'm cheering him on, but I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked because God has designed those kind of things when we give in to His purpose, His plan, and begrudgingly His timing. It's amazing what can happen. See, I was on my dog walk this morning and Mr. Bike Bender, I want to tell you how much I love you and how much our dog walks mean. And I got up and I was crotchety this morning and, I had eaten some stuff that probably didn't need to eat at the camp store. If you've never been to the camp store in Carlsbad, you need to go. It's absolutely phenomenal. But I ate some stuff, and I probably shouldn't have at my ripe old age. And I woke up today and I was like, it was almost like I was the Tin Man. Like, my joints are creaking a little bit, hands are swollen. And, but I know that little Ziggy needs to go on a walk and Skylar needs to go on a walk. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And I go on the walk. And I'm walking and I see Mr. Mike and we just start talking and our dogs are wrestling and we're having a conversation about AI and all these different things. And then he tells me an idea about a friend that he is close with that had done. And, it kind of unlocks some stuff because it was a key to something that I've been wondering about. And it wasn't something that I set out to do, but it went right back to, when we relax into our relationship, when we live our life, when we experience our life, then God brings people, places, things, and ideas into our life. And then we can't take any of the credit. We just have to give it up to Him. And I tell you, when we're in line with wisdom and we're truly seeking wisdom, the out of the blue will not be a mystery for us anymore. And it was incredible because I sat down in Proverbs 30 and it encourages us that that only when we get to the end of our rope is when His begins. And when we realize that there's only so much that we can do, but when we allow God to work, He'll surprise us on so many levels. So why don't we get this party
Nothing more on my mind. I got two shines, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
This is a tough thing because when God does it, we can't take any credit for it, and then our ego gets killed. And this is a part that is challenging for me at times. I don't know if it's been challenging for you, but I'm the one that wants to systemize it and put it in play and all these things. But what's amazing is God has so much more and give so much more when we give in to Him. And so, this journey through Proverbs, which is what we call Inchstones, if it is the first time that you're listening, or if you've been listening for a long time, I thank you so much. We've been working on it for a year. We finally got the workbook, and it's the Inchstones, the Vibe Within. It's your workbook that will unleash the wisdom of Proverbs, and it'll take you through Proverbs, the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day. So it's got the proverb inside of it, and then it's got a journal for 3 months. What verse hit your heart? What did it make you think of, and how can you apply it to today? So it's going to be an incredible, incredible workbook. It's going through. We should have it out in about a week that it's going to be available. It's actually going to be available at the Vibe Experience, which is in April 12th in Salt Lake City, and we're excited about that. If you haven't got your tickets, go ahead and do that. We got a couple of them left. But in Proverbs 30, it was great. And I want to give a huge shout out to Mr. Mike Bender, because you really inspired me this morning. Uncle Brad, you inspired me yesterday by not only changing the shot, if you're watching on YouTube or on Spotify. If you're watching, you can see the camera angle's different. You can see the lighting is different. It just made me so happy. I couldn't wait to get here to the studio to be able to record. So here we go in Proverbs 13 or Proverbs 30. It encourages us that is only when we get to the end of our rope that His rope begins. And we hear this saying all the time, oh, I'm at the end of my rope. I'm at the end of my rope. And we almost think of it as a bad thing. But I want you to think that when you get to the end of yours, then God can start to work. But as long as you're working and you're trying and you're doing all these things, and this is what I fall victim to. I fall victim to it all the time because I think that it's up to me. And we hear this all the time. If it's, if it is to be, it's up to me. But when we give in to His purpose, His plan, and His timing, which is the toughest part, the last one, the timing, we'll start to see things come into fruition. Now, this does not mean we lay on the couch or we get in go to our mom's basement, hang out for the rest of our life and do nothing. That's not what it's saying. What it's saying is that we allow those amazing, what we call chance meetings, which is not chance. He designed them, and He's going to bring people, places, things, and ideas into our lives when we just give it up to Him. So in verse 1 of Proverbs 30, give up and give in, and you will receive everything. This is contrary to the belief of today's society and the thought process, because we feel that we have to go out there and we have to just constantly, the grind. And what God is saying is like, I don't need you to grind. I'll sand off your rough edges, definitely. I'll take you through the fire and I'll purify you. But when you give up and give in to His purpose, His plan, and His timing, it's amazing what can happen. And that way we could stay with relaxed intensity and walk through our day knowing that God's going to bring people, and it's not going to be out of the blue. And when you say like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, well, you'll never believe what happened. You'll actually start to believe what happened because it'll be a normal occurrence. Let's see, in verse 2 and 3, self-awareness is simple when you seek wisdom. Self-awareness, simple when you seek wisdom. What is wisdom? Right use of knowledge. Where can we get it? The beginning of all wisdom is the fear of God. The fear of God is actually the respect of God. And the only way that you can respect somebody is if you spend time with them, see their words, their actions, they're in line. So once we respect God, or fear of God, that fear of God, then He'll bring wisdom. And when we have wisdom, it creates self-awareness because we realize that it's not us that did it. It's not me that came up with the idea to go, hey, I'm going to go on a dog walk and meet a guy, meet up with a guy, Mr. Mike Bender, that is going to really inspire me today. No, God was like, I need you to get out of bed. Even though your joints are hurting, I need you to get out of bed because I got something for you. I got a person that can really, really change your life. And so same thing with Uncle Brad. So, the crazy thing is when you're walking with God, He's going to bring things that you always constantly have to, point back to Him. And that's going to be the cool thing. It keeps our ego in check, right? Which is tough on us as humans. So in verse 4 through 6, His ways are above our ways. The quicker we realize that, the less pain we will experience. And it's not that you're not going to experience pain or that you're not going to experience, adverse circumstances. It's just most of the pain that we experience is because we thought it should be a different way. So think of that. It's not just the pain that happens, the physical pain that happens, because that's going to happen within our lives. But a lot of times it's that woulda, shoulda, coulda, all those things in our head. And his ways, when you realize that his ways are above our ways, and there is a plan and a purpose for your life, exactly where you're at, you're exactly where you need to be. And he's big enough. If he needed you someplace else, he'd have you there. This is what my pops would say to me all the time. When we realize that, we have less anguish in our mind when those challenges happen, because then we start looking for the opportunity. And I just want to thank you again, Mike, and I want to, Mr. Mike, and I want to thank Uncle Brad, because both of you guys inspired me tremendously yesterday. In verse 7 through 9 is seek our daily bread, just the daily bread. What God asks us to do is sometimes I don't know that I need daily bread, because I think that gluten is getting me. I think that's what it was last night. I give Jen Moses a hard time about this and tell her that gluten doesn't exist, but I think that it is at this point in my life. I think it's making me, a little sore in the morning and things like that. But when it talks about daily bread, it's just like, don't try and consume everything for the next 5 years. Just think of right now and today. Ask God what your daily bread, and ask him to give that to you, and focus in on that and be present in those moments, and you'll see things start to come into fruition. But you'll see them come out of the blue, which out of the blue just basically means that it's coming from him. Here we go. Speak truth, and then too much or too little will cause you to act a fool. Too much is something, too little is something. Think about money. Too much of it exposes the foolishness, and that's why I think that God didn't give our family money early on, is because honestly, like, I would have acted a fool. Seriously. So I'm glad that when I had a 71 Corolla station wagon, that I couldn't get 50 series tires on it, and that I couldn't get the stereo that I wanted, because it did not belong in that 71 Corolla station wagon that barely ran. So I thank you, God, for not blessing us financially early on, because I would have acted a fool. But then too little sometimes will cause you to act a fool too. And we've seen these things happen. In verse 10 through 14, gossip is silly and has no reward. Very simple and explanatory, self-explanatory. In verse 15 and 16, enough will never be. I used to think like, oh, if I could just get to this point, then everything would be cool. And then you get to that point and you're like, nah, I see that thing. I see that thing. I see that thing. It's the classic thing of getting a new car. When we get a new car, then we see all the other new cars that are out there that maybe have different features. Enough will never be. In verse 17, respect time, people, places, and ideas. When you respect that time, you spend time with people. It's amazing what'll come out of the blue. What those are air quotes. And what will be like, I can't believe this happened. Well, you'll start to believe that will happen, because God designed it to, because it's his purpose, his plan, and begrudgingly, like I said earlier, his timing. In verse 18 through 20, prepare for shiny things, and they will be blatantly silly. So when you prepare for shiny things, those things that are going to deter you, you can see them from a mile away. It doesn't mean that you have to study them all the time. It's just study the truth and you'll see a lie from a mile away. But when you understand what shiny things are and how they can distract you, they will be blatantly silly. And what is silliness? Silliness is just the lack of wisdom. And so the lack of wisdom would be the lack of the right use of knowledge, and that's not a place where you want to be. So that's what the great thing about Proverbs is, because it's constantly imparting wisdom into us. In verse 21 through 23 of Proverbs 30, and I invite you to read it on your own. You'll be able to do that when you have the workbook. When you know the source, humility will be natural. In verse 24 through 28, inchstone by inchstone, the milestones are built. It's not the huge milestones that we need to focus on. It's just the little inchstones. And when celebrated, piled up, they become the milestones in our lives. And that's incredible how God can be able to work that way. And what he wants to do is through people, places, things, and ideas, which is just basically nouns, he'll bring those things into your life, but he'll bring them on his timing. Let's see here. The silly man praises himself. The wise man understands that all things that come out of the blue are designed blessings. Let me read that one again. The silly man praises himself, but the wise man understands all the things that come out of the blue are designed blessings. And so as we finish today, my pops would always say to me, When you're trying, you're not letting, son. And my wife would always let me know it's not that deep. And I want to thank both of them for helping me to understand that God is in control and he will bring the blessings without the painful toil, as Proverbs 10:22 says, if we allow him to. And so God wants to take that out of the blue. He wants to take the shock of, you'll never believe this, into, I believe it because I seek wisdom, and wisdom is the right use of knowledge. And the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God. And that means that I'm respecting God and spending time with him. And then he'll let me know of my daily bread, those little things that will come in, and he'll bring blessings like a Mr. Mike Bender. He'll bring Uncle Brad into your life to tell you the story about how his mom met somebody, and now he's got a meeting with this person that happened to be a dream of his. And at the point, you won't be shocked. You won't be shocked at all because you'll be expecting that, because that's exactly how wisdom works. It's been another episode of Inchstones. I want to tell you how much I appreciate you. If you want to read with us, it's on Substack. You want to watch and listen, it's here on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. If you want to experience us, it's at the Vibe Experience, April 12th. Go and get your tickets. It's going to be an unbelievable day. You'll have, the lineup is nuts. Baron Baptiste, Coach Keith Hale, we got John Elston, James Dixon, Peter Anthony, we got Claudia Ryan on music, we got Linda Schwartz on comedy. It is going to be an unbelievable day. And if you want to engage, you're actually going to be able to get with the workbook, which is the Inchstones, the Vibe Within. It'll take you through and unlock the wisdom of Proverbs, and it'll do it on a daily basis. Or you can have me come in and speak at your company conference or your with your convention. And that's what I'm going to be doing tonight with BITAC. And I want to thank you guys so much. BITAC is the #1 conference in the hospitality industry at the Fairmont Grand Del Mar. And I'm going to be speaking there, which is going to be incredible. And we're going to be talking about how the vibe can change everything in hospitality and how it is the driving force behind everything. So I want to thank you again. Greatest compliment you could do is click the like, do a review, and share it with your friends. So my name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.